if your car is insured, then the insurance will kick in. If you have, salt water come up to the base, the bottom of your car, it typically is covered. So, I mean, not that you shouldn't move your vehicles if you have adequate timing, but don't like stress out about that and put yourself in harm's way by suddenly trying to get your car out of there, because that could be a fate.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bring It On Studios. I'm here with Farley, Jen, and I'm Darian. Looking forward to another episode today. And yeah, tis this season. Tis this season for tropic energy. 6 months of nail-biting energy that we deal with during these times. And the question is, when you turn on the TV and you watch Jim Cantori bringing you the latest storm, the question is the storm going to be named after you? Are you in the path of destruction? Or is it going to bring you perfect waves that you can surf all day long, like going on a surf trip because the storm is just out to sea? Now, there's a magic 48-hour window for everyone to be prepared for the storm, and that's what we've been seeing over the last couple of hurricanes that have come by us. And our question to you is, are you prepared for the next hurricane?
It's
and
hurricane
the best
season.
Yeah.
If you haven't recognized that.
I mean,
and it's not only is it hurricane season, the frequency and the repetitive nature of the hurricanes that we're seeing each and every year just continues to increase. And, for anybody who's anywhere coastal, it's something that we've lived with for I'll say at least 10 years here where we live in New Jersey, but it's become more prevalent in obviously places like Florida that have water, they're a peninsula, that they're surrounded by, these bodies of water, that the temperature is getting warmer. And the intensity and the frequency has risen. And the other thing that happened is that there's more people that live in Florida than ever for a lot of really great reasons. There's a really great tax base there. There's really great weather for the most part. The quality of living is amazing, and a lot of people have chosen to live
and it's
there.
not just Florida. There's storms everywhere. There's storms hitting. It all depends, because basically the weather, storms are moved by warm water, warm weather, and they supposed to move west to east. So it hit North Carolina. It hit Vermont, our town we lived in, so hard. You never thought a hurricane would come, and it hit New Jersey, and then it went up that way, and it just absolutely destroyed our favorite places in Vermont.
Look at it to Asheville. Asheville was one of those climate places that they talked about that was going to be climate secure, and because of the water, they had flash floodings. So the fact of what people are dealing with right now is a real thing. And, again, we lived through Superstorm Sandy, and there were people that refused to leave. And we know people that are choosing to take that path now. And
just a disclaimer right now, we're filming the day before, or actually the hurricane is coming towards Florida
Milton.
right now.
We're talking about Milton, and guess what? Helene already destroyed Florida. I'm from Sarasota. I have 5 friends that lost their homes. The ground's saturated in Florida right now. They cannot handle another storm. So what's so devastating is I lived in Florida my whole life until I became an adult that graduated from college. And 10 different times, major hurricanes were coming through. My parents would tell me to pack up my favorite things. We would always evacuate. I would bring my autograph books, my dog, whatever, my photo albums, because I was young. And never did we feel the wrath or the aftermath. And I had to move to New Jersey to actually get hammered by, Sandy and by Ian. And now I'm looking at what's happening to Sarasota and to Florida overall, and everybody that's feeling the fallout. Asheville. I mean, everywhere you look, there's a problem.
Yeah.
And
people are still recovering from Katrina.
Well, Helene, I know right now they are saying, hey, everyone go up, and they're trying to pick up all the debris from Helene, and it's a problem. So a friend of mine, I was at PT the other day, and he goes, my friends in Florida, they live in a small community, so they got all their friends who had pickup trucks. They were going up and down the roads, getting all the debris, because the debris, once the storm surge comes, the debris is what's going to cause like numerous problems. So they pick it up. They have trucks. They pull in like basically a conga line into the transfer station, and the guy turns him away and says, you can't come in here. FEMA basically is who we're dealing with because they're making money. And they're like, what do you mean? So meanwhile, someone in the car is filming it. And they said, you can take your garbage and all your debris and you put it back where you found it. Call FEMA. They'll come take it and they'll bring it to us because they wanted to make money. So Ron DeSantis finds out and drops a hammer and opened every transfer station. So for anyone out there, just know if there's a big hurricane that comes through, go to your transfer station, call government help if you can't get in. He cut the lines on all the gates so everyone could bring in their debris, and it's open 24/7. But it's like, wait a minute, who's here to make money? Let's just save lives here. So we have a lot of good advice.
We've got good preparedness advice here, and I just wish that some of my very dear and near family members and friends would have taken this advice, because I am white-knuckled at the thought of the people that have refused to evacuate in water communities, coastal communities. And I'm also really upset for people that are in hospitals and nursing homes and facilities. How do you, move 150 people that have all kinds of different issues? Where do you take them? Where do you put them? How do you get them anywhere? I mean, my dad's immobile at the moment, and I feel like he's a sitting duck in Port Charlotte. So it is.
Did you see the Aqua fence? So they have this thing called an Aqua fence
in Tampa,
and it's 15 feet high, and it's this fence that goes basically around the entire hospital, and it blocks up the water. So certain areas of the storm surge is going from 2 to 4 feet in the Keys, which will decimate the Keys, but then it's aiming wherever it's going. I mean, 15 feet is high, so fingers crossed it just doesn't hit it as hard, but that this Aqua fence can keep it away. So you try anything, you see people coming together. That's the one thing with storms, is that people do come together to try to help each other. And it's, let's join hands, let's do sandbags. And but for the most part, you got to get out. If they say it, you have to evacuate.
But it's hard, because until you've gone through something personally, you're like, oh, that really stinks that person.
Our area was untouched relatively for years.
Correct.
So like the older community, my father included, doesn't even have flood insurance.
Well, North Carolina, they didn't.
North Carolina, I mean, it's a terrifying situation, because we have water all around us, but my dad was not in a high risk zone. And the older that you are, the more frugal that you become. And he's like, hey, I've lived in Florida for 50 years and this has never happened, but this could be the first time in 55 years.
Well, and there's a lot of people that are older and own their homes, and there are no requirements.
And we own our home.
There are no requirements for insurance at all. So a lot of people
hurricane insurance
had nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a frightening situation, because any water damage, water moved by wind, anything, roof leaks, whatever, any type of water damage, we are not covered.
Yeah, that's
and guess what? After Helene, FEMA put a stop. So you couldn't even get coverage, and there's a 30-day lapse. And there's, right now, like, people were scrambled eggs, after Helene, trying to do what they didn't have done before, and there's a holdup, and I'm on a wait list. And I had no idea, like, my dad, is not mentally where he once was to guide me, and I'm picking up the pieces. So one of my pieces of advice for people that have parents that are elderly that live in areas like this, make sure that you find out before the storm hits if they have adequate coverage. Make sure that there is a plan in place for them, or have it worked out, fleshed out in advance, so that it's already something that you can snap your finger and make happen.
No matter where you live, not just in Florida or any state,
coastal, anywhere. I mean, you need a plan B, you need an evacuation plan, and it should be discussed among families, and it should be, known.
But it's something that I know that certain family members, as you're older, you don't want to leave your house, and you hear endless stories. I remember when Sandy happened, talk about preparedness. We're looking, and my brothers, we all just kind of watch the Weather Channel, and you're watching storms because we surf, and we want hurricanes. Like, you want that energy, but you want the hurricanes to stay offshore. You don't want them coming in close. So you watch it. You're always watching the weather pattern. I remember my brother Pat going, hey, you need to really look at this storm. Go get supplies. It's going to turn into something like we've never seen before, because basically everything with the moon tide, with the winds, currents. And I was like, really, Pat? All right. So, of course, I'm nervous Nelly, and I ran out. We went to Home Depot. My mom and dad were like, no, we don't need to do it. We don't need to do it. That we have to do it. So Jeff, the whole crew went. We got we boarded up her house. They basically live a half a block from the beach. They didn't want to leave. I said, you guys are leaving. I don't care. Come to our house. And we have food and we have this and that. And thank God we did, because you see what happened with Sandy. But your brother, or your husband, my brother, was the one who said basically, go get water, go get food. And we were just in front of it enough, got gas. You have to gas up all your cars. You have to charge all your electronics. And we were prepared when it came through.
How ironic when Sandy happened and Jen and I lived down the street from each other. We, evacuated to I evacuated to the Swains family house. When we came back, we did not know what to expect on our street. And, our street was desecrated. I mean, I had people's like the back of their homes and I had a mailbox from Brooklyn in my front yard and a rock, like a porous rock that had made its way in the water and it landed in my front yard. I mean, our dock was destroyed. We had no electricity for 2 weeks. I had to go to Florida for 2 weeks until we got electricity back, which is ironic.
I remember,
right now.
I remember you had to do that. Well, the most interesting thing is when Sandy happened, after talking to Pat, my dad made a call because he's always got a guy. So he made a call to Mike Maloney's brother, one of his good friends' brother, who sells generators. He drove 3 or 4 generators from Canada, brought one to our house, installed it, literally weather's coming in, and he finished the installation on my sister's house for this generator. All the lights go off in town. Our lights go on. We have Billy, who owns Harrigan's, our favorite restaurant, all their power's out. So he's bringing food across the way. Up here, have a beef, emptying his refrigerator, basically, and fed us for days. But we had a generator. So if there's a way for you to go get a generator and
learn how to hook it up before.
Yeah.
Well, they're saying
and you need gas.
The Generac sales have just skyrocketed. That's the plug and play generator, not the one that you have that's portable, but like the ones that you install on the side of your house. Those went up. The insurance valuations went down. So like the market implication of these storms is huge too. And what it does to supply and demand. I mean, let's talk about preparedness. I mean, what happens when everybody goes out and you clean out all the milk, you clean out all the water bottles, you clean out all the bread, you clean out all that stuff, and
gasoline.
To your point, like we were without power for 2 weeks in New Jersey, and it also got to a point where
there was gas rations.
There were people who didn't also want to leave because then you have issues with looting. So it's a complicated. And we had the Mississippi State Police and the Georgia State Police up here helping us. Thank you so much, fellas. And that's the amazing thing that happens with a lot of this is the community that's built. And I think what we're trying to impart to our viewers is like, get educated. And what I would say too, a little like note to everyone out there, weather.com, they're a company. They're a for-profit company. If you want to get information on weather and you're somebody who wants to distill the information, go to weather.gov. We pay for that information as taxpayers. That's free and available to the public without ads, without narratives, without them putting their label, their sticker on it, and then being able to like kind of spin the news as they want to spin the news to sell more, whatever it is. That and NOAA has always been like back in the day. My husband, again, who's a surfer with these guys' husbands, they and obviously Darian, they would listen to NOAA, NOAA, another like national,
because it gives you it gives you the buoy readings as well, and the more you learn about it, like
basic weathermen.
Oh,
so and yeah, including Darian, because like they get amped up. So we don't have people that think the sky is falling. They are so pumped when there's a system brewing, because it usually means like something fabulous is coming that's rideable.
Right, correct. And that's what you're like, oh wait, this one's coming. It's coming in more east, more southeast, but you don't want to see destruction.
But you have a healthy respect for the water, is knowing who you are.
We surf in the eye of a storm, because in the eye of a storm, it's like it slows down, the wind slows down, and people are paddling out. My brothers, I mean, I did it back in the day. Now I have not on my stand-up, but yeah. And then all of a sudden, and to the second almost, okay, it's coming. That's your last wave, and you go in. So you have to learn to respect these storms. You have to learn to respect kind of the weathermen. The saddest part about New Jersey Channel 12 is not having James Gregorio, who was the best weatherman when it came to Sandy. watched him over anybody. He was spot on everything he did, and he's no longer there. Sorry to say, but
what's really frightening is that I've never in my life had so many weathercasters, different variations. I've been watching the Weather Channel. I've been watching everything. I've never heard repeatedly over and over again, if you do not leave the zones where there's mandatory evacuation, not even suggested, it's mandatory, it's going to be life or death. I've never heard that.
No.
So that to me is like terrifying. And if you are a person that is like pretending not to hear this and you have your blinders on, you're being selfish to your family members, your friends, people that are worrying about you from other places. You know, I understand that you don't want to be like the drama king or queen and overdo it. But guess what? I'd rather overdo it than underdo it, because if there's a risk of your life, why take a chance? Why are you playing Russian roulette?
Well, people are like, oh, I'm going to ride it out. And I think I can ride it out. The problem is you put first responders at risk. My husband's a first responder, and he would go in to get someone no matter what it took. But what they're saying with this storm, they have never seen anything like this.
It's terrible.
And the problem is when these storms come through, when you just have no idea what they're going to do, how destructive, they're predicting it's going to be catastrophic.
No one predicted what happened with Helene.
Right. I mean, the roads to get into these small areas will be closed, will be blocked. No one's going to be able to get to you. The storm surge, which basically always does most damage, they're claiming 15 feet. That's higher than any houses. Their roofs are not like metal strong, sturdy roofs.
And most houses in these areas are one-story houses.
That's what I mean. So it's, you know what, you want to leave and listen, because, all right, what are you going to do? Just go and take the chance and listen. I remember talking to a friend of mine, and he said, yeah, well, lived in Maniloking, big house on the beach. This is Sandy. I'm going to ride it out. Send all his family there. I want to be with the house. Well, all of a sudden, it came so high, the storm surge, and the ocean is breaking basically on his house, picked up his house, and like moved the house across the way, kind of like a Wizard of Oz and Dorothy. And he now has made it from the first floor to second floor, goes to the top floor, put on his wetsuit, and had his surfboard with him. And then the water got so high that he basically jumped out of his house and paddled and kept paddling. He said it was the scariest thing he's ever done in his entire life. In his wetsuit.
So insane.
Paddling. You don't have any light. There's debris. I mean, we went out.
Wow, that's the other problem that's happened.
It happens at night.
These are happening at night. Like when Superstorm Sandy hit, it was in the middle of the night. They still don't have photos of exactly what happened. And it sounds like, unfortunately,
you've got no electricity.
What's happening with this storm is the same. Its trajectory has slowed.
9 p.m.
It's going to hit at 9 o'clock at night. So again, you know, and the other thing we were just told by Farley's daughter is that there's another storm on the back of, I think Nadine is what she said.
Yeah. Nadine.
So, you know, they're
GFY Nadine, GFY Milton.
Yeah, it's
terrifying.
It's a lot, and the weather patterns are changing. You know, we've talked about that before. Our winters aren't what they used to be. Our summers are way longer. I mean, it's 70 degrees here and warm in New Jersey. It's a beautiful sunny day. We don't have enough rain. You know, so you know,
we don't even
Mother
anymore.
Nature's upset. Ski season doesn't really start until January. And I feel as if the seasons are pushed forward a month. Like you can ski until late April. Storms are coming in that normally we would have them in March.
Sometimes we get robbed of spring. Sometimes we get robbed of fall. Like all of a sudden the foliage is like, and it's over, you know, and it's Antarctic or not, you know, it's like volatile weather, which is why we're in this hideous hurricane pattern at the moment.
Yeah.
And make sure we did something probably pretty stupid when there was a lockdown during Sandy, and we live in a town that's a mile square, and we're at my sister's house with her generator and full bellies from Harrigan's, drinking beers, and we're like, well, let's go out and check grandma's house. So she lives like, I don't know, 3/4 a mile away. So my sister's ex-husband, myself, and I forget who else, maybe Jeff or someone, we went out. I had my little Ugg boots on, and we're running across. All of a sudden, we go out there, and you were in a war zone. Power line right in front of us drops into the water. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
So meanwhile, we're dressed in black, and you get rested. So all of a sudden, we cross the tracks. and no lights were on anywhere. It was so freaky. And we see sirens. Someone's like, there's perpetrators out there. Meanwhile, it's us they're trying to find. So we're running. We run behind a house, and people all of a sudden flashlight. You're like, keep running, because we were trying to check on my mom's house. And all of a sudden, a gust of wind comes, and a stop sign comes, rattles, and it comes up and like comes right at us. I was like, holy, got low. I ran home, and my brother-in-law, he took off on whatever his weird adventure, went to my mom's house, and she lives up on the hill a little bit, and she was fine. But I got home, I was like, I'm never leaving the house during a storm, so don't do that.
I came down the stairs here in this house in our basement. Our basement was flooded out, and I was concerned about unplugging all of my husband's systems so that they didn't get fried. And I'm walking around without a GFI and like knee-deep water. So things not to do. It might look just fine, but you don't know what power lines are down. Do not try to take matters in your own hand, because I dodged a bullet that day.
Well, and it changes so quickly, and it can change, you know, in the hurricane conditions. I told the girls a story, like my husband went back to when we evacuated the street with some young kids. We went back, and in 15 minutes, it went from being drivable, walkable out the door to chest high deep on my 6-foot tall husband. So like the ocean and the water, they are unforgiving. Mother Nature wins every single time.
They're polluted
every single time.
So
it's crap.
Is in the West. You know, not only stop signs, glass, and whatever, but like one of my friends in Sarasota went to clean out her stores in St. Armand's and was walking to get there because she couldn't drive there, and got a flesh-eating bacteria on the back of both of her ankles and has like elephantitis of her feet right now because it's polluted and there's sewage and disgusting things. So you got to be really
smart.
careful.
Be smart. Get out. Like, and that's what Florida and
download WhatsApp.
They're all saying
download WhatsApp, because
make sure you have
once your electric is gone, there's also a satellite app that allows you to like go outside and actually connect with satellites that still allow you to have, you know, access to world calling. And I just made my friends put together a WhatsApp group, so we're totally connected, and they all downloaded the satellite app, and it really is self-explanatory. In fact, there's a TikTok right now that will help people if they don't know how to download the SAT app, which gives you the ability to continue talking when like life around you is turned off and pitch black.
And you have to be prepared. If you have that 48-hour window that I talked about in the show. It's 48 hours you have until the storm kind of really focuses on its path. That's go to your house, go through, get all your documents that are super important, passports, license, birth certificates, everything. Always keep them in the box that you can grab it and you can go, or at least take photos of each one, put them on your phone so you have your numbers. You want to make sure they have flashlights. They have crank radios that you go get an AM radio. And this is like if you have a big storm, if you're in an area.
It will allow you to charge your phone at the same time.
Right.
And, you know, you can crank for the flashlight application. I mean, I bought that for my dad a long time ago.
Food, water, dry goods, because with the caliber of the storm that's going, Category 5 hitting Florida, people are going to be out of power. Tonight, it's going to go out, and it could be 5 days
real.
Plus, you want to have comfortable clothes. Make sure you take care of your pets. It's just like a no-brainer. But don't be selfish and get out if they tell you to get out.
I did find out that if your cars are parked in your garage, and like right now, my dad cannot have his cars moved, and everybody that I'm talking to is in panic mode and they're evacuating. So it's not like I can get somebody to move my dad's vehicles somewhere. That if your car is insured, then the insurance will kick in. If you have, you know, salt water come up to the base, you know, the bottom of your car, it typically is covered. So, I mean, not that you shouldn't move your vehicles if you have adequate timing, but don't like stress out about that and put yourself in harm's way by suddenly trying to get your car out of there, because that could be a fiasco.
At the end of the day, worry about the living, worry about the loved ones. Take care of yourself. The stuff can all be replaced. Even your precious documents and stuff, they can be replaced, but your life can never be replaced. So do your best to take the things that are important to you. Those people are the most important to you.
Help your neighbor
and
help the elderly that live around you.
Smart, be patient. I know they had the evacuation, and You just look at the conga line of cars that are leaving all the beach towns. Be patient. Not a time for road rage, which I have I have a lot of road rage sometimes, but just, okay, try to get in a peaceful place. And, you know, and be smart. Be smart, get educated, watch the Weather Channel. When you see the eye of a storm coming on the TV that looks like a buzzsaw, it's time to get out.
And
there's a big
grit, guys. Apply grit to everything that you do.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you got to have some grit to roll up your sleeves and tackle, you know, weather.
Whether or not we go, or do we stay?
Weather. Yeah. All right. Well, we really appreciate you tuning into the Girls Gone Gritty. We're sending lots of love, positive prayers, and energy for what is going to be happening the next couple of days, probably weeks in Florida. And we give our gratitude for you listening and tuning in. And like Darian said, whether or not this is affecting you personally,
no pun intended.
It's affecting the energy of everybody. So let's just give some good grace to the people that are in the eye of the storm,
the path of the storm, the trajectory of the storm, the fallout to the left and to the right, because wherever it lands, the people to the right and to the left are going to really experience the surge problems. So band together,
get together. We appreciate you. Peace out.
Peace out
from Bring It On Studios. See you next week.